Hello and welcome to Fuel Like a Skater. I am Tonya Crowley and I will be your health coach for this performance nutrition workshop. I'm a figure skating coach and a skater myself, so I really love working with skaters and their unique fueling needs that you need for this sport. So let's dive right in. Here's a little bit of an agenda we're going to go through today, starting with the foundation of good fueling, some common issues that I see a lot with skaters who are under fueling, and your daily fueling needs, your training day fuel, a competition day fuel, what that would look like, your hydration basics, and where to start if you're not sure exactly where to get started. So, starting out with our foundation basics. Okay, so we have our macronutrients. These are the things that we need in large amounts every single day. And I have this analogy I like to use with a bonfire. So, in order to burn energy, just like a campfire would burn, you are going to need a lot of carbs. And your carbs are going to be like the logs in the fire, but not just the logs, the kindling that starts the fire as well. So we have simple carbs and we have complex carbohydrates. And I'm going to kind of get into the difference between those two, but you're going to want both of them because those simple carbs are fast digesting, quick energy carbs that you're going to use for like pre-ice snacks and throughout your day. And then your complex carbohydrates are like the logs in the fire that are going to give you a little bit more of a sustained energy burn through your session so you're not crashing midway through. So carbohydrates are super important for figure skaters because this is our main fuel source. This is the preferred energy source your body is going to need and use for jumping, spinning, program run-throughs, all that good stuff. And then we have protein. Now, protein is more of like your fire repair crew. So it's really necessary for repairing and rebuilding muscle tissue and um, preventing injury and all that stuff that we're going to need. So getting adequate protein is absolutely essential throughout your day as well. The fat is going to be like the coals in the fire. So they're going to have an even longer sustained energy yield for you. And so these are also necessary in your diet. I'm going to talk about what type of fat is going to be most ideal for you. And then I also wanted to include micronutrients. So micronutrients are basically the colors that you see in your food. So you want to get as many colors as you can throughout the day because they contain micronutrients, the vitamins and the minerals that you're going to need for your skating. So if you don't like vegetables, then I challenge you to find a way to still get them into your diet because they are so critical for your health and for your skating as well, your goals that you have for skating. So whether you're putting them into smoothies or into sauces that you like, find a way to love your colors. And that includes fruit too. So fruit and vegetables are where you're going to find your micronutrients. Okay, so let's continue here, and I'm going to do a little pop quiz. I've got a bunch of foods here on the screen, and I just want to see if you can label them correctly as either a carbohydrate, a protein, or a fat. So let's start up here. We have what looks like to be white bread. This is going to be a carbohydrate, and white bread doesn't have a lot of micronutrients to it, so it's going to be a quick digesting, fast acting energy source for you. Great to use, for breakfast before you go to training. It could even be a pre-ice snack, a little turkey in there or something to just get that energy lighted up. So it's like the kindling to your fire. We have some bell peppers here. This is also a carbohydrate source, but as you can see, it's got some color to it, so it's going to have some micronutrients that you want. It's not necessarily a great source to use right before you take the ice because it is going to have some fiber to it that might not sit as nicely. But for your recovery plate and what you're going to eat, either when there's a couple hours between when you're on the ice or after you get off the ice, this is going to be a great resource for you to get that micronutrient um, vitamins and minerals that you need for your day. How about this chicken drumstick? This is a protein, and I do advise that you eat the skin. It's going to be really good for you. So, yes, chicken with the skin is a great protein source for recovery and injury prevention. How about these bananas and berries? This is a fruit. It's going to be a carb source, but as you can see, it's very colorful. So you're also going to get the micronutrients that you need, but they are fast acting. So again, this is the kindling to your fire. It's great to take right before you get on the ice, and any other time throughout the day as well. Between sessions will be good. How about this avocado? What do you think that would be? This is an excellent fat source, and fats are really good for balancing your hormones. And also think of that bonfire again, those coals that have a longer burn capacity to them, but they are a slower burn. They have a slow burn to them. So it's just going to last a little bit longer. Avocado's a great fat to incorporate into your diet. Oats. Okay, this is a carbohydrate source, but this is more of a complex carbohydrate. And so it's going to be more of the logs in the fire. So it's going to sustain you energetically wise a little bit longer through your practice session. These are great to have for breakfast. I love pairing complex carbohydrates with your simple carbohydrates for best results so that you don't burn through your energy too quickly, but that you're sustained throughout. And then bonus points if you can put in a little bit of protein in there as well to keep you energetically stable. White rice, this is going to be a fast acting carb, so it's athlete fuel. It's a great source for energy. Eggs, this is a protein source, a great recovery protein. So I highly recommend you get some eggs in after you skate in some form of capacity. Lettuce, this is going to be a carbohydrate. It's got some micronutrients to it because it's colorful. However, it doesn't have a lot of carbohydrates to it. And so if you're only eating a salad, like after practice, you risk under fueling and not getting enough calories that you need to recover properly. So whereas it does have good nutrient value, you're going to need to add something more than just salad to your plate. Fruit juice, this is a carb and it is a simple carb, so it's going to act fast and give you quick energy. Great for breakfast or pre-training. How about butter? Butter is a fat and it's a great source for you as long as you are sourcing this butter like in a high quality sense. I prefer grass-fed butter. I try to stay away from margarine or shortening or things like that. So just make sure the quality of your butter is really good. How about tortillas? This is a carb. It's a simple carb, so it's fast acting and quick digesting. How about oil? Oil is going to be a great fat source for you. However, I do recommend there no like fats are not created equal and oils are not created equal. So better options to choose from would be extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil. You could do some beef tallow, or you might use ghee or grass-fed butter. So I would stay away from oils like corn oil or sunflower oil or just more of those types of seed oils that can be inflammatory. How about this ground beef? This is a protein source and it actually is a high iron protein source, which is great because iron affects your oxygen delivery and therefore your energy on the ice. So this is a great recovery nutrient to put in after you are done skating. And then I have broccoli, which is another carbohydrate source. It's got that micronutrient value to it because it's colorful and it's got fiber in it and other great things. So Vegetables are great for skaters. All right, let's continue on. Now we have some issues with underfueling, and a lot of this is not on purpose. I think skaters just don't realize how intense our sport can be in terms of like needing a lot of energy. And so we just don't realize that we're not eating enough food to support it. Common signs I see with skaters who are underfueled end up being like low energy. It's hard to kind of like motivate you a little bit. There's poor recovery. You feel sore all the time. You have frequent injuries. You're like very injury prone, and there's always kind of something that hurts, or you're making a lot of excuses. There's mood swings that happen, hormonal imbalances, and even plateaued progress. Like you just feel stuck and you don't know like how to get to the next level. That can be an underfueling issue as well. And where I see that this happens is when we're skipping meals, and sometimes not intentionally, you're just either not hungry, like for breakfast, for example, and so you just go to practice without eating anything, or that there's not enough time to eat something before you have to run out the door and go to training or after school or whatever the case may be. There are some um, skaters who are skipping meals and not necessarily intentionally, or snacks, like you just simply don't have a snack to eat for the day or forgot to pack it. So that's where we can kind of see some underfueling symptoms happen. Or maybe you're only fueling when you're hungry. So you don't wake up hungry and so you just don't want to eat. But as athletes, and especially in this sport, our our appetite will adapt. And so I recommend, as if you get nothing else out of this session, it's that you need to eat breakfast. Lock in your breakfast strategy, and your appetite will adapt to eventually you will be hungry in the morning, and that's what you want. You want to fuel within an hour of waking up, and that's really gonna like kickstart the energy level for your day. So even if you don't feel like eating, go ahead and eat something small anyways. And you can do something lighter and work your way up to adding more protein and more complex carbohydrates. But if you can only stomach something like toast in the morning, then start there and add on to it as your appetite adapts. And then there's just not eating enough during meal times. So if you're not aware of how much you need to eat, you may not know that you're simply not eating enough and you need an extra bowl of fruit to hit that carb count that you're going to need to for the next day's energy stores. So just to be aware of like, yeah, how much am I eating and is it enough? And go back to these signs. And if you are experiencing any of these, it is an indication that maybe you need to eat a little bit more throughout your day, and not just in one sitting, but throughout your day. So timing of your meals really matter in sports nutrition. And so just making sure you clean that up and get enough content in. So here's what our daily needs are, and they may be higher than you are expecting, but if you are training moderately, so that's like, 3 to 5 hours a week, and you're doing jumps and spins and program run-throughs, this is your minimum. So you want 4 to 6 grams of carb per kg of body weight. So if you're 100 pounds, you're looking at least 180 grams of carb per day. So, and then if you are training more than that, if you're doing, if you're practicing twice a day and more for more than an hour, you're probably going to need to increase this amount. Protein is 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram. So if you're 100 pounds, you're going to be looking at about 60 to 70 grams of protein per day at minimum value. So you need at least 25 grams to 30 plus of protein per meal. And we're not skipping meals, so that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner that we are prioritizing getting 20 to 30 grams of protein per meal. And then we can add in our snacks strategically too and hit that goal if we haven't met it with meals alone. Fat, so you need about 35 to 45 grams of fat per day. This is achievable if you, for example, like to eat peanut butter or nuts and seeds, avocado, like I talked about earlier, oil and butter. So uh, this is a good range to try to hit in your day. Micronutrient wise, I want to just focus on some key nutrients that are super important for skaters, and that being iron, calcium, vitamin D, magnesium, vitamin C, and B vitamins. So, um, this comes from the foods that have lots of color to them, and also fat helps you absorb certain vitamins like A, D, E, and K. So if you don't have your fat content, you're not absorbing critical vitamins that are going to help you in your goals for skating. So that's why we want to make sure we hit our fat goal for the day as well. So let's look at a typical training day, what this would look like and how we eat. So it kind of depends on when you're going to be training, if you have time between breakfast and that first practice session, or if you're waking up and just going to it. So ideally, if you have 2 to 3 hours before you step on the ice, you want a well-rounded performance plate that includes complex carbohydrates, simple carbohydrates, protein, and fat. Like you want a well-rounded meal. Okay, if you are having to jump right on the ice right away, just focus on carbs. And those simple carbs and complex carbs together will help keep your energy sustained. But ultimately, we're looking for like a nice, well-rounded performance plate to start your day. And then about 30 minutes before you get on the ice, you're going to top up your glucose stores in those muscles. You don't want to start your session on a half empty tank. You want to start that session full. So you're going to top up those glycogen stores with like some fast digesting carb sources. So that's fruit. I've got applesauce here. You could do juice, you could do crackers, you could do any of those simple carbs I talked about on a few slides before this. Now, if you have multiple sessions, if you go more than an hour, you're probably going to need to take a break and refuel, like top up more of these fast acting quick carb sources. Or if you have an hour between sessions or so, make sure you get your protein in because that is your repair and recovery nutrient so that you don't end up being too sore or injury prone. So I've got some like turkey roll-ups here, crackers and cheese. I'm kind of adding that protein in for after your session is done to refill the glycogen stores, refill those carb stores, and get the protein in. You could also do these little power bites, where you have the nuts and seed mixture with peanut butter and honey. These are great kind of recovery after practice snacks. Chocolate milk is an excellent recovery snack for you. Even better if you turn it into a protein shake, add a banana in there, some whey protein powder. You can get some more of your protein grams in that you need. And then you need your recovery meal. And this is just like breakfast, so it's going to be a well-rounded performance plate. You want adequate protein, you want colors, you want the mixture of those complex and simple carbs. This is going to be your recovery performance plate. So there's kind of a general idea, and you probably need to plan ahead. You probably need to do some meal prep. You probably need to do some whatever you need to do to get enough fuel in for your day to fuel your goals, to fuel your skating, because this really does make a huge difference when you are properly fueled and have enough energy for what you want to do. I'm going to send out this kind of competition fueling guidelines. So I'm not going to go through it individually, but you'll get a handout of this of what your fueling should look like for competition day because it's a little different. There's nerves involved, and so your stomach may not be as willing to digest as well that you would on a regular training day when nerves and stress are a little bit lower. And also there are, your stress hormones will deplete certain micronutrients. And so there's some things to really prioritize for this day. Let's go into some hydration essentials because we have a unique sport where we do practice in the cold and that impacts our hydration levels. So, a cold rink, it proposes this hidden dehydration. And I'm just going to draw your attention down here to the symptoms. Slow reaction times, dizziness, like you feel dizzier on some days when you're doing your spins than others. Like, check your hydration status. Muscle cramping is directly related to how much hydration you're getting and the electrolytes in your hydration. So be aware of these symptoms that you may not be drinking enough water. Cold will also blunt your thirst, so you don't really feel thirsty. You don't notice that you need to drink water when your body actually needs it. So um, drink even when you don't feel thirsty. Make sure you bring a water bottle to the ice and just kind of periodically go back and make sure you're sipping on that over time so you're not, downing a whole bottle all at once. Sweat is also hidden under layers. You don't realize you're sweating, but you actually are. And the dry air in the rink is you actually lose a lot more fluid through your breathing that way. And so, again, it's this hidden dehydration that we don't realize is going on when we are training in cold environments. This will also affect you if you are skating at elevation. So you will need more water intake than if you're skating at elevation than at sea level, for example. So I want you to aim for half your body weight in ounces. So if you're 100 pounds, make sure you're getting at least 50 ounces of water a day. And then for every hour of training, you're going to add 12 to 24 ounces of extra fluids. Okay, good. What else do we have here? So if you're not sure where to start, okay, let's start with breakfast. Let's just lock in a really good performance plate for breakfast. Like identify where your complex carbohydrates are, your simple carbohydrates, and have a protein source and a fat source. So you have a well-rounded plate to start your day. Other resources that you have that are completely free to you. I have a newsletter that I send out every week. It's called Fuel Like a Skater. You can subscribe to that free newsletter, or you can also book a free consult call with me because every body is different and there's different food preferences and there's different situations and training goals and training loads and all kinds of stuff. So if you want something a little more personalized for you, you're welcome to book a free consult call with me. Here's where you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Skating Nutrition. My website is fuelyourcomeback.com. And please email me with any questions. I know it's kind of a lot. And so if you have any questions or concerns that you want to ask me, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, team@fuelyourcomeback.com. So it was a pleasure to give you this workshop today and good luck. I'm excited to see where you go and how you do, and please keep me posted on what you're working on. Thank you.